Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman episode review for you guys. And I apologize for being like 3 episodes behind and doing this review now with I think we got the last episode of this show next week. I don't know if we're gonna get a season 2. I would be very pleased if we were to get a season 2. And I don't know how much, like, in terms of the source material, that there's still enough to adapt. But look, I'm definitely enjoying this show. I'm liking this show. Now, I ended up missing episode, as I pull it up on my phone, episode 9, 10, and 11, with episode 11 being the episode that aired today. So I won't go in depth in terms of, the only real episode I'm going to go in depth with is episode 11, but kind of episode 10 and 11 kind of go hand in hand together with the story of basically Beryl and Alusha trying to keep the prince and the princess safe from being killed by these assassins. But episode 9 was kind of another one of those slice of life episodes before, obviously 10 and 11 came in and just kind of effed everything up and started to get like, okay, what the hell's going on here? But episode 9 was basically about Beryl trying to get Mui a new bag for school, which was pretty dang dope. Because he didn't want her carrying around that sack, and he felt like, no, I gotta give, I have to gift her, this thing for everything because she's working hard. I can tell she's working hard. And again, like we've seen in the last few episodes leading up to this episode, it's just Beryl being a good father like figure, and he's kind of really truly taking the father approach. Like that episode, it's like strictly like, no, I'm thinking about my daughter right here, and I need to get my daughter the best bag I possibly can, right? And to the point he ends up teaming up with Serena for a mission to get this very smart horse. I found it funny how the horse, was like legitimately like, I'm not trying to get caught whatsoever. I don't want you at all. The horse was actually pretty intelligent and pretty smart, but when Beryl and the horse get into a situation that, hey, they need to help each other, the horse actually intelligently helped Beryl out. Like he was about to fall into like this ravine area, but the horse grabbed him and saved him essentially. So I thought that was pretty cool. He ended up getting the money he needed to buy the bag, and I did like the fact that, Miwi was so happy about that and everything. It just goes to show you, like, she actually views Beryl as like her actual father. Beryl views her like a daughter. It's just adorable to see and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's kind of my episode review of episode 9. So episode 10 and 11, I'm really gonna kind of in conjunction review the episodes together because realistically the plot line kind of extends to both these episodes. So if you remember from a few episodes ago when Alusha took Beryl to the store to go buy some new clothes, this is kind of what the clothes were going to be for. It's just basically the escorting of the prince and the princess, and they were going to go out. We see in episode 11 they were originally to go out like in this field to view the crops and everything, and it just be good for basically the prince's publicity so he can be basically the next ruler of the kingdom, right? So Beryl meets the princess. At first, when I was watching the episode last week, I'm like, are they gonna try to maybe have something set up where maybe the princess has a thing for Beryl? I don't know. No, they didn't. It's clear she has a thing for the prince, but that's kind of the thing. They basically have to escort them, make sure that they're, safe as can be. Also, at the end of episode 9, we got introduced to another new character, another new former student of Beryl, and that is Rose. So Rose is a part of the elite guard knights or whatever. I have it pulled up. The vice commander of the Holy Order, Rose, right? And basically you get this funny interaction when they first reunite, how like essentially like she is basically in love with Master Beryl, like strictly, like she is 100% in love. And I loved it because Alusha is just getting all pissed off about this. Every time she says something, Alusha's like, Oh, this bitch. Oh, I'm going to kill her for the fact that she's hitting on Master Barrel. I can't do no, no, no. I found it absolutely hilarious. So that's the thing right there. Again, I don't know why. Again, I know this is already established that Barrel wants no relationship with his students. But at this point, I'm just like, Alucia, it's clear that you have feelings for him. Like, even in episode 11, she talks with Rose on the side, and they talk about how they feel about Master Barrel and the fact that their feelings are basically romantic, um, and everything. I'm just like, I don't, even if she might get turned down, I don't know why Alucia just won't confess her feelings. But regardless, that's my whole belief. But anyways, um you have this whole thing going on, and basically they're working with the holy order of the church to basically escort the prince and make sure that all is good, right? So yeah. Now when they start to do this, and then the prince, he's like, hey, I want to go see this store and everything, and he's going all over the place, and I'm like, bruh, you're a prince, like, dog, you could legitimately get assassinated, right? And that's what kind of somewhat happens. This assassination group in hoodies just show up, and basically they start attacking everybody. So Barrel, Alucia, and the other knights in the area are protecting the prince and the princess from basically getting killed from these rogues, right? And you have it where one of the commanders in the Holy Order, he was fighting with somebody who we later see, like, it was confirmed to be somebody that he wants to go up against and target. That it was like the former, the former commander that held the position before Alucia held it. That's what that dude said, right? And he's like, I'm going after him. That's what he said in episode 11. But that's the thing. And then you just have it to where everybody else is doing it. I do like some of the nice, moments that they give for the characters, especially Alucia. For example, in the episode where Alucia and Barrel sparred, one of the assassins did the same thing that Barrel did, grabbed Alucia's cape and tried to pull her down and probably stab her and impale her. But because of the training that she got from Barrel, she prepared for that, and she easily defended that. Nice callback to that episode, nice moment, that, and it made good on Alucia for remembering, like, hey, my cape can sometimes be a weakness for me, and people will get the upper hand on me. That's exactly what Barrel taught her. I did love that moment and everything. So that we get to where Rose is fighting, and she actually just like straight up kills one assassins and everything, and you just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely not, she's definitely not suspicious, right? Definitely not suspicious. And at the end of the episode, they gave her a look where it's like, let me guess, is she the leader of this assassin group? And it's basically revealed at the end of episode 11. She's got to come out and admit it at the end of episode 11, but you can easily tell, like, no, she's kind of like their leader, and everything. We still need an explanation why, which leads into episode 11. So because of the events of episode 10, they're basically not sending the prince and the princess out anytime soon. There will be no escort. They kind of canceled that because of the incident that actually did happen. Excuse me. So essentially, Alucia tells Barrel, like, hey, you can just go and relax. If anything comes up, we'll let you know, but go rest up, get yourself ready if we end up actually doing this and stuff like that. So yeah. Now Barrel's like, I would envision, like, after this, I don't think this escort's going to happen anymore, right? And stuff like that. Now the other commander tells Rose, like, hey, you go rest up and you go, relax. And that kind of leads into her and Alucia, kind of talking and having this moment. Basically, Rose tells Alusha, basically her backstory with Master Barrel and everything, saying like, yeah, I trained under Master Barrel for like, a few weeks to a month, and then it was really, but realistically, it was a short time. And after that, I basically did what I did, and I'm here I am. So yeah. They end up, she tells like that she's basically in love with Master Barrel. And she kind of just flips it on Lucius and like, look, I understand that you like him too. It's the exact same reason. And Lucius tells her backstory, like, yeah, he trained me, when I was a little girl. And when he told me that I've learned basically everything he could taught me, I was very emotional. And then basically Rose is like, oh, so you're in love with Master Barrel too. And basically Lucia does confirm that. She does tell him like, yeah, she does tell Rose like, yeah, I do have feelings for him. So that's the thing, right? They end up seeing this little boy, and essentially they help out this little boy find her mom and everything. And the reason why she is so understanding and so helpful with children is we found out that her parents actually kind of covered for a orphanage, and essentially she even helped out, and she ever since then has been like, she knows how kids think and everything, and she's good with kids, right? So yeah. But anyways, what ends up happening is there's a meeting with the knights, and Alusha basically comes out and says, or one, actually I forgot. Lucy actually is stopped by Barrel's house and says like, look, we need to talk about the attack that happened. So she knows about everything that happened, right? Now Miui was there, and she ends up actually leaving, and it's cool that Miui, because Lucy's like, seems like she's a lot smarter than she looks. You're raising a good one there and everything. But essentially, Barrel's like, okay, like, are you trying to tell me, like, because he questions, like, wait, why were the magic guard, like, not at the, escort? And basically Lucy's like, well, because we kind of don't believe, in anything and stuff like that. It's kind of just like we're kind of ostracized for that whole situation. So they wouldn't let us in on, like, government affairs like that and stuff like that, because that just makes no sense to do that, right? We don't believe in a specific religion, and it kind of creates some tension there. But essentially they kind of deduce that these assassins are coming from the same people that we saw in the last episode from the church situation and stuff like that, right? Because Barrel makes a mention to Lucy, like, yeah, these dudes, in which I forgot to mention episode 10, like, they had these guys captured, they were gonna arrest them, but then they ended up, like, I guess using cyanide tablets and killing themselves, right? And that's what Barrel told Lucy, and she's like, well, yeah, okay, if you fought up against a guy that didn't really have no regards to his own life, well then, yeah, they must be a part of the same group. So that's the thing. But anyways, that's when it cuts to Alusha basically making an announcement to the command, to the army, essentially, the Royal Guard, like, hey, this escort mission is actually going to commence, and it's still going to happen. And Barrel's like, okay, I don't know why this is still happening, but alright, that's the thing. Now Barrel does tell Alusha, like, hey, we just need to be a little bit better and more of a hiding security, and we need to watch every single possible thing we can do. And she's like, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. So the escort mission commences, and everything, and they basically get to like this wheat field and everything. And also too, the reason why they're doing this escort mission is because it looks good on the publicity for the prince and his, I guess escapade to be like the ruler of the kingdom and everything. Personally, if you ask me, you just come out and you make an announcement like somebody tried to put a hit out on the prince. Now, yeah, some people can determine like, oh, does that mean somebody's got some dirt on the prince? But at the same time, it's like, dog, come on now. If the dude is, honorable and he's a good dude and he's got a good reputation, I don't think anybody would judge this guy. But anyways, essentially they get to this wheat field. Barrel talks about like, oh, this is the first time he's ever seen something like this, even though in his hometown it's like something similar, but he hasn't seen it to this degree. Now I think Karumi, she basically says, well, it's sunny, but it's overcast and cloudy and everything, right? So eventually the prince with the princess, why they did this, I don't know. Okay. They basically looked at the crops, they saw it, but then all of a sudden you just have it to where arrows start firing away and the assassins are there, right? So Beryl and the others basically protect the princess from getting, attacked by these arrows. But as they're blocking the arrows, you do have assassins coming up with swords and daggers trying to, attack them and impale them. Essentially what happens is because the overthrowing of the arrows are going too crazy, they ask basically the main commander of the Knights of the Church to be like, Barrows is like, hey, you need to go take care of those arrows. If we take care of we're gonna be basically dead here if you don't take care of those arrows. And he's like, but because he's worried, because he ended up having a conversation earlier with Beryl in the episode about taking down the former, former commander that, was in Alucia's position. But he reluctantly goes, right? He reluctantly goes. He's like, all right, good. But the thing is, there's still a lot of, assassins coming out of nowhere, right? And Barrel's like, wait, but what happened with the guards that were stationed? We see that the guards that were stationed at every basically corner of the carriage, they're all taken down. I'm guessing they're dead, and stuff like that. And my only best case is it's probably Rose that did that, right? So essentially, Beryl tells Alucia and the others, like, hey, you escort the prince and the princess back to the carriage, and you basically protect them and make sure that they're 100% safe. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go, continue on and try to stop these assassins. So they go do that, and then at the end of the episode, Beryl basically walks in and he confronts, and we see it to where Rose is there, and basically Beryl's like, well, I think it's time we talk. So I have to wonder. I think at this point, I think Beryl knows, like, you're the leader of these assassins, aren't you? And I think it's pretty much. I think even at the end of episode 10, I think it was pretty much clear that it was basically Rose that ordered this hit on the prince and the princess. Now, why she wants to kill the prince and the princess, I have no idea. Maybe she feels like she's been wronged by the kingdom. I don't know. Or maybe she just feels like this is her belief of what she should do. I don't know. I'm gonna lean into the fact like maybe something the kingdom did in her past that affected her life growing up, and it had an effect on maybe her family or something. And I don't know, maybe that's the thing. Maybe because we found out like, oh, she helped raise an orphanage with her parents, right? Maybe that orphanage ended up getting attacked and people innocently got killed, and basically the royal capital did nothing about it and didn't bring any necessary help, or did little to next to nothing to do anything. And maybe this is Rose's way of saying like, no, I can't trust these royal people because they're gonna do the same exact shit. They say like they're good people, but they're not. Unless she's just in this cult-like mindset of this church stuff. I don't know. We'll just have to see where it goes. But the last few episodes of Old Country Bumpkin has been really good. Definitely can't wait to see what happens in the show's finale, or I guess the season finale. Just in case we do get a season 2 announcement. But yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or your night, or whenever you're checking out this video. Until then, guys, stay safe out there. Peace.